Yes, today we'll be starting with the Hawk Roosting poem by Ted Hughes. Uh, you might have heard about the poem, I think, because Ted Hughes is basically famous for his animal imagery and the poems that talk about uh, the the things that are connected to animals. Now, a hawk, as you already know, is a large bird with a short hooked beak, sharp claws, and a very good eyesight. So, this poem, Hawk Roasting, is a poem that puts the reader into imagined mind of hawk that's about to rest up for the day. It's a monologue, the poem is a monologue of a raptor given the powers of human thinking, thus personified. So, it is a typical Ted Hughes animal poem, which is being unsentimental and unromantic, of course. Now, in this poem, what exactly Ted Hughes is doing is that he's imagining the interior thoughts of one of the great birds of prey. As you already know, hawk is considered to be a bird of prey. The poem has been told entirely from the perspective of the hawk, which is personified as having the powers of the conscious thought and, of course, a command of English. So let's come to the text now. The first stanza. I'm reading the first stanza. I, a hawk, sit at the top of the forest with my eyes shut. I'm doing nothing, holding no false dreams between my head's curved beak and the curved talons of my feet. So now the poem begins by launching straight into the hawk's interior monologue. That is, the hawk is here personified throughout the poem, given the capacity for thought, language, and expression. This leads to a kind of a contradiction that runs through the poem that the hawk killing nature is beyond human reasoning, and yet the poem can only express this nature through human language. The hawk sits at the top of the wood, surveying its kingdom. Similarly, as a bird of prey, it sits at the top of the food chain, and its high vantage point represents this superiority. Its closed eyes capture the way in which it inhabits its nature completely. It is at ease with itself, acting instinctively. Now, the end stop at the line of the first line reinforces the way in which the hawk will act only when it feels it needs to. It wants to be hurried, it won't be hurried by anything else. Now we have a caesura here, a kind of a pause. After inaction creates a similar pause to the end stop, carrying the same connotations. Now here the hawk starts drawing a distinction between the way that it thinks and the way that humans do. It indulges in no falsifying dream. It sees the world according to its true nature, implicitly criticizing the way that humanity imposes a false morality on the idea of violence. Now, this is a kind of a strange thing that we can find here, that what kind of a false idea we have on violence. As you all know, it's a bird of prey. So let's see. Here, violence isn't evil, it's just a normal part of the hawk's world. The hooked head and the hooked feet emphasizes the sharpness of the parts of the hawk's body, suggesting its violent nature. So, in the fourth line, the hawk states how it sometimes rehearses perfect, kills and eats when it sleeps, even in dreams. Then the hawk inhabits its true nature. So, this is what an introduction, a little bit of the first stanza and in the beginning of the poem. We'll continue with the poem in the next class. Thank you.